When you were a kid, how willing were you to share your toys or your stuff with other people? Yesterday, my 15-year-old came to me and he asked if he could buy a baseball bat. Well, not really whether I could buy a baseball bat for him. And it's the latest and the greatest, as you might imagine. And it was about $350. So we started negotiating. And the end of the negotiation was that he's going to pay for half, I'm going to pay for half. Now, his 16-year-old brother overheard our conversation and immediately piped in, "Hey, Tim, are you going to share your baseball bat with me?" And I could tell by the look on Tim's face that he wasn't exactly super excited about that. Now, you may be wondering, what do baseball bats have to do with construction? Well, it's very interesting. As the leader of your construction company, you more than likely have project managers reporting to you, or perhaps they report to a project executive who reports to you. And those project managers are in a very interesting role because they're responsible for bringing their projects in on time and at or under budget. And yet they're very often put in a situation where they have to share their resources with other project managers because of the priorities of the organization. And your job as a leader is to help your project managers to take off their project manager hat and put on their company hat and understand the logic behind the sharing of resources. And so how do you do that? Well, the first thing you do is you create an open line of communication with your project managers and let them know that if they have any challenges on their project, that they are able to communicate with you or the person that they report to. You've got to create that open line of communication. And then you have to sit down with them and be quite frank and open about where they sit in the company and how company resources are used. They have to get the bigger picture that it's not all about their project necessarily, but it's about how the company executes overall and that their resources may be shared with others and that can have an effect on their project. You have to communicate that to them so that they will be okay with that. So open up the lines of communication and give them that bigger picture, and then simply instruct them on how, when, and with whom they should communicate if they have an issue. And I'll give you a specific example. I was chatting with a project manager. He's an up-and-comer who I coach one-on-one. And he had this very issue on one of his projects. And his first thought was, I need to call a meeting with the company owner, the operations director, the superintendent, and the project manager on the other project that my resources are being shared with. And I was like, okay, hold on, time out for a moment. Is it really necessary at this point to call a almost company-wide meeting on this issue? And he thought about it, and because he's a smart guy, he said, you know what, Eric? I think the first thing I need to do is just chat with the general superintendent and share my concerns about the fact that my resources are being shared on these other projects. And I thought that was a really good conclusion on his part. He doesn't need to go full meeting right away because the company owner and the operations manager may look at him and say, dude, why are you wasting our time? But if he can have that conversation with the superintendent and process through the fact that his resources are being shared, that can help him to have the right perspective and accept the fact that some stuff is out of his control. And though his resources are being shared and it will impact his project, that he isn't necessarily being judged solely on the profitability of his work, but also on how he interacts with other people in the organization. So keep this in mind. In conclusion, open communication with your project managers, give them that big picture, make sure they're comfortable with bringing up their concerns, and in that way, they'll be much more likely to be able to share their resources with a good attitude and with a degree of confidence. So, back to my sons and the baseball bat. Now, I know my son, Timothy, the 15-year-old, he'll be willing to share that bat with his older brother, even though he may be a little reluctant to begin with. The only question that I have is, will this new bat, which is supposed to be totally awesome, help them to get more hits next season? That remains to be seen. My name is Eric Anderton. Thank you for watching this video. Give me some comments in the comments below on what your thoughts are on helping project managers to share resources with other folks, how you help them with their mindset. And feel free to share this video with other people that you might think will find it useful. Thanks for watching.